Amadlozi yakhuluma nawe, idlozi liyavuma.
Takazani Dimilang Lisedi. Hello everyone and welcome to the one-on-one sessions with Gogo Musore, and I'm your host Gogo Am. Give you guys tips, lessons and teachings on everything spirituality. Okay, so this is the part 2 on African creatures and negative entities. I was actually planning on taking the video like this week, but I was like, you know what, let me just take it really after that one, because I know how inconsistent I can actually be, especially guys, it's December, it's a lifestyle. Okay. Anyways, I hope you guys are good this week. I hope you guys are still having fun and whatnot. So we're doing a part 2. So right now we're gonna be talking about a few spirits, a few entities and creatures. It's not really too much, but it is very interesting. Okay, so the first one we're going to be talking about is impundulo. Ne? Impundulo, it's a Zulu term, right? It's a Zulu term, and what it means is the lightning bird, ne? Or other people call it tekwani. I think tekwani is Sotho. I think it's Sotho, but I'm actually familiar with the impundulo term of it. Okay, so the lightning bird, that is what they call it. And one thing about it is that this bird is said to be white and black in color and the size of a grown man. So this is actually a very huge bird. I'd say, well, it's almost as big as an eagle. However, I think eagles are a bit bigger. It can summon lightning with its wings. Hence, that is why they call it the lightning bird. It's like summons lightning. Okay, it summons lightning on a regular basis. So minimum, whenever people are using lightnings and whatnot and sending lightnings to people, that light and whatnot, they're probably using this animal. Okay, but not all of them, obviously. Like there'll be some people that cannot access such an entity. Okay? So it summons lightning with its wings. It is usually a pet servant or a familiar of witches. A familiar is an animal. Okay? So like for those of you guys who've watched Harry Potter, you've heard about familiars, whereas Harry Potter had to like get the owl to be his familiar, so like a bird or an animal that will follow his command at all times. So this is a familiar or a pet, or rather yet a servant of witches on a regular basis. And these witches use this animal to attack their enemies, to kill the people that they hate, the people that they feel are a threat to them in any way whatsoever. Okay, and I also noted that it's also a vampire. Okay, so this is getting interesting. So this bird is a vampire, is Thor, and is like the size of a human. Like, how dangerous can it get? Like, it can't get any worse than this. But it is a vampire, so it lives off blood. It lives off the blood of animals, it lives off the blood of humans. So meaning what, back then there would come stories, like when I was researching the whole animal, like I heard, like I was reading and I read stories whereby people were talking about their cattle and their herds being taken by the imbundulo, and only a few people were able to see it, and they would all describe it as this very, very huge animal. And whenever it would flap its wings, lightning will start, in a sense. And another thing about it is that it craves blood on a regular basis. So whenever a person is harboring this animal, they will have blood for it on a regular basis, or just say, you know what, go take so and so's blood. I don't really like that person anyway. They are my enemies. Like, it is made to actually attack their enemies after all. And it has the ability to shapeshift. That is even worse. So what it does is that it can shapeshift into a very, very attractive man, from what I read there. Which kind of sucks. Like, how we supposed to date in 2021 when we're not even sure if people are people, or if they're impundulos and whatnot? Like, that is just crazy. So what it does is that it can shapeshift into a very handsome man, and what it does is that once it's in that form, it lures women there into it. It lures women, and once the women are lured to it, it would drink the lady's blood, from what I heard. So I've never heard anything about sexual relationships with these creatures, but I have heard of it luring people to drink their blood and whatnot. And most of the times it does kill people. But most of the times when it kills people, it is specific people. It just doesn't go around killing everybody. So people would see, but it would not harm them, because they are not a threat to it, and they are not targets for it. However, whenever you are a target for it, and let's say maybe so and so doesn't like you, and decide, okay, let's just send this familiar of us to this person, then understand you are most likely gonna die, because it's a very, very dangerous entity and whatnot. And also, things that I haven't even noted down on the sheet is that it is said that it is found in certain caves. There are certain caves whereby it is found, whereby it lives. There are sacred caves here in Africa, like mostly South Africa, because I'm hearing that it's a South African animal, whatnot and whatnot. Né? So there were certain caves whereby this animal was harvested and taken by the witches. And however, yes, most of the times it was taken from that cave, but other times it was created through dark magic and dark rituals and whatnot. Okay, and once this animals has been taken and used by this particular person, it will, however, go back to its cave now and then and come back when it is called. But most of the times they will have some sort of a layer, a cave of some sort, whereby this animal will be staying most of the time for it to actually follow instructions on what they wanted to do. But it did have its own free will, because as much as it could be a familiar or a servant to certain witches, it was still an entity of its own without them coming into their lives and whatnot. Okay, so number 2, we have Ubiana. I know some of you guys are ready to start dancing by, like, once you heard me say Ubiana, but this is not Ubiana that we all know and love. This is Ubiana, which is actually an entity. Okay, let me do this. Which is actually an entity. Okay, so it being an entity, this is a creature conjured up and used by African dark witches. Obviously, this is all the animals we're talking about. They are conjured up, most of them. It looks exactly like a human, but it is hairy all over its body, and many people say it has one eye. So this animal, from what I found out about it, is that it looks exactly like a human, but it is very hairy from head to toe. Not too hairy as in like you'd say it's a monkey or whatnot, but you will see like its skin, the flesh here and there, but it is like very hairy and stands up straight like a human. But the thing about it that people can actually, that help people distinguish, okay, this is not a human and this is not a monkey, is the fact that it has one eye. It's a cyclops. It looks like a cyclops. Okay, but Lorna, at the end of the day, I do still feel like that all these creatures that we see in movies, we read about the mythical creatures that are all over our television screens, they originated from something and somewhere, and most of them originated from the creatures that are hovering around the earth. Creatures that are sacred, creatures that are evil, creatures that have been used for malicious things, creatures that have been conjured up by crazy people, in a sense. So it has one eye, and it is used for utwala. Utwala, like I said in the previous video, is when people attach themselves to it to make it give them certain things like wealth and whatnot. So with it is whereby, yes, people want to get wealth, money, to get success, to get recognized, and all those things, to get fame, in a sense. Like, people that want all those things, they get this kind of animal, but not all of them, but most of them, they do that. So but Twala to get wealth, riches, and fame at most times. But remember, like I said in the previous videos, this kind of wealth that you actually get from a negative entity such as this, they do come at a price. Okay, it is found in certain sacred mountains or woods, but figure that places must be very dark ones. Okay, so it is found in like sacred caves and whatnot. But understand already, like, there's like different types of caves. There are spiritual caves that we spiritual healers go to speak to our ancestors, to pray. There are different rivers that we go to speak to our ancestors and pray. And there are some that completely we will never go there. We would never go there, because we know there are some places that are actually there for the good spirits, the wonderful spirits that give us that connect us with our ancestors in a way, but there are others whereby these types of entities are found, especially the ones that are not created, the ones that are found but have been there, and their main goal is to cause malicious things. There are dark caves whereby you will find these entities, and this is the thing about it, they are dark ones, and this is where you will find the Ubiano, in a sense. And the other thing about Ubiano is that it does require sacrifices if you conjure it to give you wealth. So what happens is that you will get this thing, but at the end of the day, you will have to sacrifice something on a yearly basis. Like I said, with Utwala, it's something whereby you just don't get it for free. You don't get it for free. No one's gonna say, okay, give me, like, let me give you the snake, you just give me 10,000 and you're done. Like, these creatures on their own, like using these creatures on their own should be like a wake-up call that this is not where it's all gonna end. So with umpundulo, yes, you will also have to, with Ubiana, you will also have to sacrifice certain people in your family, in your bloodline, to continue to please it, so you can continue to get the wealth that you're looking for in your life. Okay. Number 3, we have popobawa. Okay, so popobawa is an animal that is not really around South Africa, but it is in certain parts of Africa, like was it Nigeria? Tanzania. Oh, it was in Tanzania. Okay, so the popobawa is also called the night demon. Okay, where's my sage? The night demon name. So this is a demon that attacks men, women, and children in their household before it moves forward. And the thing about it is that when it was famous back then, when it was attacking people non-stop, what people would be advised to do is that if this creature attacks you or comes into your home and attacks you and your family, what you need to do is that you need to inform other people, like tell people exactly what happened in details, to make sure that it doesn't come back. Because if they had to do that so it doesn't come back, then it pretty much looks like an attention seeker in a sense. Like, it wants to be seen, it wants people to know what I was here, I was there, I'm everywhere type of thing. Like sounds like a sociopath, sociopaths, that people that will actually kill other people, and once they get famous, they're like, hi guys, I'm the serial killer. Okay, this is pretty much the energy, the vibe that I'm getting from this animal right now. Okay, so the attacks are said to have been physical, so it would beat the heavens out of a person, and also it will sexually assault the people that it attack. So it didn't matter if you're a man or a woman or a child, it will do all those things to you before it moves on to the next household, or before it moves on to the next village or the next place to attack next. So like I said, you were encouraged to speak about it, which is gonna be, I feel like it's something that men would actually find very hard because of this toxic masculinity. No man would actually want to stop and say, well, I was sexually assaulted by this entity. Lorna, the way we were conditioned as people, the way men were conditioned from a very young age, is very sad. Okay, but this is not what we're talking about today. Okay? Number 3, the creature is said to have been a shapeshifter, can take the form of a human or a bat. It's Batman. It is Batman. Like, honestly speaking, I thought the Umpundulo was the only one that was unique, but okay, this one can also take the form of a bat, and in some cases it will actually shapeshift to be in between, meaning what it will look like a human but will have wings of a bat. So it was actually able to fly from one village to the next, different place and whatnot, and which actually explains, because obviously the popobawa, not the impundula, I'm sorry guys, this impundulo thing is just stuck in my head. I just found it so interesting, unfortunately. So this creature would actually transform or shapeshift into a human or a bat, or be in between, to actually travel from one place to the next once it's done with its attacks and preys on a certain person or a certain village and whatnot. So most of the times it is not conjured up. It is not created by witches. It is not something that people control and whatnot. It has its own free will. But obviously a creature like this does come from the darkness, the dark side of everything, like, which is actually understandable, because we have light creatures and dark creatures in every single area of life. It's a yin and yang type of thing. So it will shapeshift into a bat or a human, and it has demonic strength, can fly, has sharp teeth, claws, big pointy ears. Okay, so that is the description of it. It has it can fly, it is very strong. So even if people would try to fight it off, it would be very difficult, because it was very strong. It was like a superhuman. It had superhuman strength. Okay, so it was very hard to fight off, or rather yet kill, for most people in different villages who would actually gather around and say, okay, we're going to attack this animal. They would not be able to do this. And secondly, it could fly, hence the whole bat thing. And it had very sharp teeth that would allow it to actually kill its prey if it wanted to kill its prey. However, it wasn't very likely to kill people. It did kill cattle, goats, sheep and whatnot, like creatures in people's farms and whatnot. It will kill those things, domestic animals. That's what it will kill. And it had very long claws. Né? So even in its attacks, people actually have marks of claws and whatnot. And initially they'll think, okay, maybe this person was attacked by a bear or a wolf. But you would see what, okay, this is actually quite different because this is an entity that is very organized in a sense. Né? And it had very pointy ears. That is another thing that actually described it. So hence that's why they call it a demonic creature. It is not created by a person. It is brought here with dark, very evil dark magic, and it's uncontrollable in every way whatsoever. Okay, it is often accompanied by a very pungent smell. So whenever back then when this thing was very famous, for people to know, okay, the popobawa, the popobawa was actually on its way to visit us. It was doing its weekly or monthly visits. They would actually notice with the smell. Okay, it had a very pungent, very like sticky smell to it, which actually alerted people, okay, this thing, it's around us, it's here with us currently. Né? So, and Lorna, they also said it is mostly seen at night but has been seen during the day. Okay, so these are creatures, like I said, it is not controlled by witches, because most of the times creatures that are controlled by witches, they usually come at night, they won't come during the day. So this one, yes, it was seen at night most of the times, maybe because it wanted to like be known or it's there, but at the same time it didn't want to like flash us all around and everything. But another thing about it is that during the day it would be seen, but most of the times when it would be seen during the day, it would be passing or going to get a daily meal, a snack, maybe going to snack on someone's cattle or someone's goat or whatnot, but it was hardly seen during the day. Okay guys, and last but not least, we have Pinky Pinky on our series. So Pinky Pinky is a creature that was known throughout South Africa to terrorize bathrooms and woods, but mainly girls' bathrooms back in the old age. Okay, so this creature was first heard of in 1994, whereas people that have encountered it say that it has a weird looking feature. Okay, so people would say that it looks half male and half female. Okay, and also others will say that even though it looks half like a man and half like a woman, it also looks like an animal at the same time. So Pinky Pinky wore raggedy clothes that were pink, given the name, and his face was also a bit pink. And they say that again, that in his hand, one hand was a normal hand with long nails, while the other one was a very big claw. So what Pinky Pinky does is that Pinky Pinky would often hide, or rather sit, in girls' bathrooms. And if a young girl between the ages of 8 and 12 was 8 and 14 was to get into the bathroom, ne, without like anyone accompanying them, Pinky Pinky would come forth, ne? And what she would do, or rather he would do, I don't even know which gender I should use for her. Okay, what they would do, Pinky Pinky, they would actually want the child to give them something pink that he or she likes, that Pinky Pinky likes, ne? Then if the child refuses, then the child will be attacked by the creature. It is said that the creature had histories of attacking people, murdering people, and also raping young girls at the time. And that is how Pinky Pinky became one of the most feared creatures growing up for me and other South African young girls in this country. And another thing that they also noted is that people are still not sure whether Pinky Pinky was a real creature, whether this creature in general was created in order to help girls be aware of when they go to the bathroom, so they can be accompanied by somebody else, or at least go in groups, or it was a real thing. But there are cases whereby people even today still come forth and say that they have since experienced, or rather seen, or been attacked by this particular creature. Okay, so this is it for the part 2 for today's video. I hope you guys loved it. I hope you guys learned a lot from this. I learned a few interesting things. I'm interested in the whole vampire Thor creature going around and whatnot. It's quite interesting. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed these videos. I hope you guys learned a lot from it, and I hope to see you guys very, very soon. Bye bye.